Okay, so now that we've found what lenses are going to suit you in the fit assessment, I'm going to show you how to apply the lenses to your eye and remove them safely, and how to look after them. So, we'll open one of these blister packs. Just check it is your prescription and that it's still within date, although they have a very long run period, so it shouldn't be a problem. Now, these lenses come in sterile saline, but once it's opened, you mustn't store it again in this solution, except we'll do it briefly now just to re-wet it. So the first thing to do is to work out whether they're inside out or not. Always keep some tissues to hand that are lint-free, that aren't going to get little bits of fluff on. To handle the lens, it doesn't want to be too wet, but it doesn't want to be too dry either. So the first thing we look at is the lens profile. And what you want is a lens that's sort of more of a bowl shape, and if you just give it a little pinch, you'll see that the edges roll in. If I flip it over, then the lens edges roll out a little bit more, and if I pinch it, they definitely go out. Or you can do what's known as the taco test, where you put it along a fold on your hand and you can see the edges roll in or roll out. Now, because I've been demonstrating that, this is starting to dry out a little bit, so I'm just going to re-wet it. And before you put it in and check profile, you also just want to check that there aren't any bits of fluff or anything on it, so do check for that. Very, very occasionally you'll also find a lens that has a defect, but that's pretty rare these days. So you want to look for any nicks and tears in it. Right, so what I'm going to do first of all is demonstrate how the lens goes in, how you apply it to the eyeball. Because the lids are continuous with the surface of the eyeball, there's no way it can go behind your eye, so don't worry about that. It can go under the lid a little bit, but you'll be able to get it out. But it's very rare that these lenses decenter anyway. So if you could look into the mirror for me, because of the size of the lens, it's about 14mm in diameter, that's actually slightly bigger than your natural aperture of your eye, and it is the same for most people. So we need to hold the lids out of the way, we need to control the lids, and that's really the key to getting a soft lens in. So if I just show you how I would put it in, I would hold your lid by the very edge, back firmly against your brow, and I would do the same with the lower lid, and I'm just going to pop it straight onto the centre. Now I'll just give it a little rub before I move my finger. If you could look to the left and right, and slowly down. What you've got to avoid doing is a sudden shutting of the eye. How does that feel?
That's fine.
Okay, and try opening your eye. Take a tissue if you like.
Thank you.
Because it initially has a little bit of a bubble, if you snap your eye shut, it will pop out again. So you've got to make sure that it is going to stay on the eye, not on your finger as you remove your finger. And then you want to move your eye left and right, up and down, release the bottom lid over it, and then very slowly release the top lid over it. Otherwise it will come out.
I see.
Okay? If it feels gritty when you put it in, then you can just decenter it, and it usually gets the little bit of fluff or whatever out from underneath the lens, and it should feel okay. If that doesn't solve the problem, you have to take it out and rinse it. If it stings and blinking doesn't get that away, then you would again take it out and rinse the lens. Okay? So when I did your fit assessment for the lenses, I put the lens on the white of the eye and then centered it. Here I'm teaching you how to put it straight on the eye, which is going to be easier for you. Okay? So let's have a look at removing the lens. If you look into the mirror again, I'm going to hold your lids out the way. What I want to do is make sure that the lens is going to be pinched off, but it's got to be off your cornea, the brown part, to begin with, before it's safe for me to pinch or for you to pinch. Otherwise you might scrape your eye. Okay, so if you look down and straight ahead, I'm going to drag it off. If you could now look up for me, so you have to do this by feel. Once it's decentered, it will pinch off, it bubbles up and you can pinch it off. And there it is. Okay? Right, what I'd like to do now is teach you how to hold the lids, and I'll put the lens in and then we'll do it the other way around. So, always make sure your eyelids and your fingers are dry. What I suggest you do for this left eye that we're looking at first is we'll put the lens on this finger here. I would like you to use this middle finger for the bottom lid and bring this hand over the top of the middle finger to lift the top lid.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so let's just try that. If you could perhaps grab the top lid first and then the middle finger for the bottom lid, and then you'll have the lens on here and it will get placed on the centre of the eye. Okay? Right, so if you hold the lids to begin with while I put the lens on. And just goes right on the middle. Quick left and right and down. Now very slowly release that top lid. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, right, now we'll do the same again with you holding the lids, and I'm going to just remove the lens. So you drag it off. If you can now look up for me, way up to the top, that allows me to pinch it off. You can use finger and thumb, but some people find it difficult to get their thumb in. The thumb's a lot bigger.
I see.
The reason that you look up when you're removing it is so that there's a big space to get it out of without being anywhere near the cornea. Right, now what we'll do is we'll place this on your forefinger, the left hand, right on the end. You just want to check that you're happy with that lens in terms of fluff and whether it's inside out.
It looks fine.
Okay, now I'm going to hold your lids. If you could look down for me. Look straight ahead, and if you want to place it straight on the cornea. Very good. Okay, look left and right and down. Very slowly close your eye. How's that?
That's
Great.
good.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to hold the lids and you're going to remove the lens. So I want you to put your finger on the lens quite firmly, pull it down as you look up, and then you can pinch it off. Okay?
I see.
So look down to begin with while I grab your lid, and straight ahead. Now, if you can get your finger in, put it firmly on the lens, drag it right down, look further up, that's it, it's coming off. Okay. So you need to be quite firm and pull it down and then pinch it.
I see.
So the next stage is to put all of that together and you apply the lens and remove it. So if you use your middle finger for the bottom lid, other hand over the top for the top lid. So it needs to be nice and wide, your lids mustn't escape. Very good, slowly left and right, and down, and release. Excellent. Now what a lot of people do is they're not sure where their eye is as such, and they tend to hit their eyelashes, and that makes the lens fold back and stick to your finger, and then it's very difficult. It won't come off, so you just have to start again, reposition it, and have a go again. So you need to be holding your lids really wide, which is what you were doing then, and you were also very, very central. That can take a bit of practice, but you got it first time. Right, let's have a look. If you just dry your eyelids with your eye closed, and then we'll have a look at removing it. So again, this hand over the top, the opposite hand, middle finger holds the bottom lid out of the way, put your finger on the lens, drag it right down while you're looking up, and then finger and thumb in to pinch it off. Perfect.
I thought that was going to be harder.
Good. Right, now in terms of looking after your lenses, you're going to be taking these out at night and putting them in a case, and you need to clean them first and store them in solution. So here's a bottle of solution. This is a multi-purpose, so it acts to clean, re-wet the lens and to disinfect it overnight. In order for it to work properly, you've got to have rubbed most of the bugs off the lens that just are naturally in your eye and in the atmosphere. So they need to be rubbed off by you, both sides first, and then put in the case. So here's a case. This is a new case. You would replace your case at least every 3 months, and it normally comes with the solution. Case care is very important because on the rare occasions where there are problems with contact lens related infections, it nearly always comes from people not looking after their case properly. So when you put the lenses in the case at night, it should be a completely dry case every time. And I'll show you how to look after it. So when you take the lens out at night, put it in the palm of your hand, put some of the solution, a few drops of solution onto the lens, so if you cup your hand, that can help, and give it a good rub, like this. Cupping the hand stops it slipping around all over the place. Then flip the lens over and do the other side as well. So in total you're taking about 30 seconds to do both sides of the lens, making sure you're going all the way around. So this helps to rub off the natural deposits that end up on the lens and the microorganisms that are just naturally in the atmosphere and in your eye anyway. And then what you need to do, because that's kind of covered in a sludge now, you need to rinse that off. So I put it in the palm of my other hand. I should have brought a kidney dish. Put it in the palm of my other hand and I give it a really good rinse with lots of solution. And then that's a clean lens that can be placed in the dry case. You would then top that up with solution. Do the same for the other eye, and then you put the lids on, just checking for right and left. Now you can do this in the bathroom if you have a clean surface, but you need to be very careful not to get any water anywhere near your contact lenses. Water and contact lenses do not mix at all. Water has quite a lot of bugs in it naturally that can get into the matrix of the lens, and then they will be transferred to your eye and put your eye at risk. So when you wash your hands prior to handling the lens, prior to taking it out and cleaning it, it's essential that you use good soap and that you then make sure your hands are very, very dry and there's no water on it. It's useful to use maybe an old towel or an old flannel that's very clean but doesn't have any lint on it, isn't going to give you fluff on the lens. So in the mornings when you take the lens out, when you're wanting to apply it to your eye, it would go in the eye. You would then throw this solution away and you're left with a case that needs to be cleaned and dried, and this should be done every single day. So you rinse it out, you remove the solution, and then get some lint-free tissues and give it a really, really thorough rub so it's completely dry. And this rubbing removes the biofilm from the inside of the case that the bacteria like. It therefore gives this solution a much better chance at making sure the lenses are as clean as they need to be. You would also do this with the inside of the lid, rinse it and give it a really good rub round. And then you can leave it air drying during the day, upside down on a clean tissue, ready for when you want to take the lenses out later in the day. And then you've got a completely dry case which you refill with solution, and having cleaned the lenses you can seal them in there to disinfect. Okay, don't be tempted to top up the solution. So there may be occasions when you put the lenses in your eye and then you leave the solution in there, you just put the case top back on again. You mustn't just empty it out and re-top it up with solution. That has been shown to be associated with an increased risk of problems with contact lenses. So it is critical that you dry it. It's a good idea to dry it in a room other than the bathroom, because there will be splashes, and certainly if there's a toilet in that bathroom, then there will be bugs in the air that, if it was lying like that, would sit into the case. Okay, so that's how to look after your case, and then you would replace it every 3 months. Now, I'm going to give you a checklist of a few other do's and don'ts. These are monthly lenses, so after a month you must throw them away. If you find any problems with the lens before then obviously you throw them away and replace them with a new one. This is a checklist which shows you the things that you must go through, and this, if you follow all of these steps, then it will ensure that you have the healthiest possible contact lens wear and most successful contact lens wear, and that you're less likely to have any problems. So washing your hands thoroughly with soap and drying them before you handle the lenses. Never use any tap water on the lenses or your case. Rub, rinse and store these lenses, these reusable lenses, before and after each use. Always recap the solution bottle. If you leave it open in your bathroom, it will get bugs in it. So make sure that's sealed. Empty the lens case completely each day, so you're never topping up your solution. Rinse the lens case with solution, clean with a tissue and air dry face down on the tissue. Replace it every 3 months. Some people use a single-use lens for every day, and they must be thrown away at the end of each day. If you're not feeling very well, if you're under the weather, you have flu or a cold, then don't wear your lenses. That does greatly increase the risk of a problem if you do that. Likewise, if you have a cold sore, it's not a good idea to handle your lenses. Always make sure that when you put the lens on that it feels good, your eye looks good, it's not going red, and that you see well. So feel good, look good, see good. And if any of those things aren't right, then take the lens out and do talk to your eye care practitioner. Don't sleep in these lenses. Some people are fitted with lenses that can be slept in. That's not the case for these, and we haven't looked at whether they're suitable for you, so you mustn't sleep in these lenses. They wouldn't let enough oxygen to the eye. Don't wear them for swimming, okay? Because swimming water is again full of lots of microbes. It's a big risk to swim in soft lenses. If you were starting to do a lot of swimming and you didn't want to wear prescription goggles, then we could consider fitting you with a daily disposable single-use lens that you put in just for swimming, put goggles over the top and throw away straight away afterwards. But there is still a risk associated with that, and it's probably best if you can to use prescription goggles. Now, this combination of solutions and these lenses I've selected specially for you. I know that they're going to work on your eye. So don't be tempted to try switching solution to something else without seeking advice, because some combinations of lenses and solutions just don't work on people's eyes. So you can always come back if you want to change and say, would this work? And I can let you know. Okay, so you can take this away with you. I'm also going to give you a contact lens specification, which gives you the full details of your lenses in case you were on holiday, for example, and lost all your lenses with your luggage going missing, so you'd be able to reorder them. But that will only be valid until your next aftercare. And your eye does change, and it may be that more suitable lenses appear on the market later on, and we want to change the material. So regular checks, if we see you every 6 months, that's very important to make sure that we're looking at your eye each time and making sure the lenses are still suitable. If you have any problems in the meantime, please do get in touch. Remove the lens and get in touch, and we'll see you straight away. Okay, any questions?
No, I think you've covered everything.
Great, all right, thank you very much.